Bree Hawkins, and I am very pleased and honored to have with me today Ms. Christina Sturdivant, who is the founder and executive director of Dream Life Incorporated. Dream Life is a nonprofit in the DC area that helps single parent mothers find different resources for jobs, school resources, as well as gives them a lot of mentorship. So, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for being here with me.
No problem.
Okay. So, thinking back before you started Dream Life, what were your educational or your career pursuits at that time?
I was in school to become a journalist. I was a print journalism major at Hampton University.
Okay. And what year was this?
I went to Hampton from 2004 until 2007.
Okay. So, what were your hobbies or your interests also during that time?
Good question. I don't know if I had too many hobbies or interests. I wasn't a socialite in college. I pretty much stayed to myself. I wrote for the newspaper, so it was pretty much going to class and then writing for the paper. That was about it.
Okay, cool. So who were some of your role models growing up?
I guess my father was a role model for me because he was a hardworking man. He was an entrepreneur, and so that was appealing to me.
Did he instill some like entrepreneurship values into the family?
Yeah, my mom ended up helping him build his company, so that was like a team, like a collaboration, entrepreneurship. And then like over the summers, I would work for his company, so I could see how it ran and how everything came together.
Okay, cool. What personalities or traits do you attribute to an entrepreneur when you hear the word?
I think an entrepreneur is someone who is willing to take risks, someone who is a leader, someone who is determined, very organized, and all of the things that an entrepreneur doesn't have, they know how to get it. So they're really resourceful and they know how to, get resources from other people and places when they need it.
What traits do you think that you have that mirror an entrepreneur?
I think I've developed most of those traits. I think I've always been like a critical thinker and a leader, but a lot of those things, like being resourceful, I had to learn, and being more outspoken and being more confident, I had to learn. But I think I'm pretty much there now. I'm not perfect, but I'm working on it.
Cool, interesting. So, under what circumstances did you come up with the idea to start Dream Life?
So when I was at Hampton University, the summer before my last year of college, I got pregnant. I was home in DC for like the summer break. I got pregnant. I told my parents. They were like, go back to school. So I went back to school for a semester. I came home to DC, and I was trying to go back to school, but it didn't really work. So I started volunteering at a nonprofit, and it was a newspaper where the proceeds go to the homeless. So I was working there, and I didn't really know like what a nonprofit was before that. I only knew about like for-profits and like corporations. So I was like, wow, you can give back, and this could be a business. So I was like, I think I should start my own nonprofit. And at the time, I was a single mother, and I knew a lot of other single mothers who didn't have a lot of resources and support and things that I had. So I was like, I'll start something to help other single moms.
Okay, that's very commendable, I think.
Thank you.
So, what resources did you use to start your business?
It was a lot of human capital. I didn't have a lot of money at all at the time. So I pretty much got a group of my friends together one day at a coffee shop and was like, these are the resources I want to have for this nonprofit that I'm dreaming of. Like, can you research like housing? Can you research education resources? So I kind of like did that in like a round table style amongst some of my closest friends. And then where I was volunteering that nonprofit, I talked to that executive director and I said, how do you start a nonprofit? And she said, articles of incorporation and bylaws and blah, blah, blah. And she kind of like let me mirror what they had and fit it to what I wanted to do. So that was really helpful. She was like a mentor.
Sorry to interrupt. Were your friends from a business or entrepreneurial background as well?
No. None of them were. I don't even know if any of them, they probably didn't think about entrepreneurship or like nonprofits at all. I kind of introduced them to it, but I just used them because I couldn't research like every element, so they were good for getting information at the least. And then of course working with friends doesn't always work out, so eventually like some of those people stopped helping, and I got new people, skilled people. So yeah.
Yeah. So looking back during that time period, how would you assess or grade your initial preparedness to start Dream Life?
Probably. I mean, if I could get an A for effort, then I would give myself an A for effort. But otherwise, maybe like a C minus. I just really didn't know what it really took to be. Even though I saw my father do it, like I didn't see when my father was up super late when I was sleeping and things like that. And then with the nonprofit, it's just a whole different world than having like a corporation or a for-profit. So I don't think I was that prepared. I just knew that I wanted to help people, and so I was gonna like figure it out along the way.
So how does Dream Life represent you?
I think I'm a giving person, and so what Dream Life pretty much is about is giving back and giving to those in need. So I think that kind of reflects my personality. I'm just getting a large group of people to give with me to these moms.
So how has your control over Dream Life increased or decreased from the beginning stages into starting it up?
In the beginning, I think it was me and my cousin who was in school for counseling, which helped because we wanted to counsel moms. So we kind of partnered up, and then we got a lot of referrals, and so it became like overwhelming for us. And so eventually, like as years like passed, I brought on an operations manager who knew more of the operational aspects of a nonprofit, and then she also helped me with the programming too, so that helped a lot. And then I brought on a mentor director, so I was kind of like overseeing them instead of doing all the work myself because it was just way too much.
So kind of like in that a similar question, like compared to when you first started, how many like hours per week did you dedicate to Dream Life as opposed to now?
When I first started Dream Life, I was working a full-time job, or I think part-time, and then it became full-time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do Dream Life on the weekends and in the evenings when I could because I had a child. But whenever I wasn't at work, and actually even when I was at work, I was doing Dream Life, even when I was supposed to be. But eventually I ended up quitting that job because my boss knew I wasn't passionate about it. Like, she knew about the nonprofit and she wanted to help me. And she was like, I know you want to do the nonprofit, but focus on this work. And I just like couldn't focus on anything else but Dream Life. So I ended up quitting, and so now it became like a full-time thing without the full-time pay, but like full-time hours.
So in addition to that loss of like pay, what other sacrifices have you had to give up in order to grow Dream Life?
I think it just has to do with sacrificing a lot of time. It just takes a lot of time. Like when my friends are out at brunch, or if like I want to like lay down like over the weekend and be lazy or like watch a movie, you just can't do that stuff when you're building something like a nonprofit from the ground up. So I think a lot of time and a lot of like letting go of fears, like everything I was afraid to do. I didn't tell anybody about Dream Life when I first started because I was just like too afraid. And I didn't want them to ask me a bunch of questions and stuff, but I had to let that go for the good of the organization.
That's very interesting. So what are your future plans for Dream Life? Do you want to launch any other ventures? Or I know you're really passionate about journalism. I've read some of your pieces. So like, how is that all fitting together?
It's actually become quite difficult because I did start freelancing as a journalist, which has been lucrative compared to Dream Life. So I'm trying to balance both of those things. But I think just with Dream Life, it's about getting the right people in place to take it where it needs to go, and building the curriculum and the programming to make sure that the resources that we provide to the girls are where they need to be. So just continuing to develop what we have.
How has the whole process from the initial concept of Dream Life to growing it to maintaining it, how has that like played a role in your evolution as a individual?
I think like I said before, I think I started out as very, like, I was impulsive, and I'm like an aggressive person, like with my goals, but in public I was really shy. But now I don't think I am. Like, I can tell you what Dream Life is, like up and down. I could say a speech about Dream Life. But long ago, like, I couldn't do that at all. So I think I'm more vocal, and I've become more trusting of myself, and my ideas and my time management and my organizational skills are just like through the roof now. People want me to like organize their lives for them. So I think it's helped me to grow a lot. And just my network, the network of people who I've been able to meet in the DC area is just tremendous because of Dream Life, like opening those doors for me.
So out of all of those things, what would you say are the most rewarding aspects for you to be an entrepreneur?
Well, I guess first say you can kind of schedule, your day around like how you want it. You don't have a boss. That's always, good. But as far as the organization and what it does, I think since we mentor young mothers and I personally mentor some of the dream moms, just like when my dream mom like moved out of her home and got a new apartment, and when she got a job and she sent her son off to school for the first time, just experiencing those things for her and knowing that I helped her achieve those things. I think that's the most rewarding part of this particular endeavor.
What do you think are the least rewarding things for you?
The pay, and always like not chasing money, but you can't, like when I was at my 9-to-5 job, it was just like I was an admin assistant, so I was just like doing small tasks, but I knew I would get paid like every 2 weeks. With Dream Life, it's like you're creating your own money. When you're an entrepreneur, you have to get the money yourself. You gotta apply for the grants. You gotta like figure out like how you're gonna get paid and things like that. And it's scary. So I think that's the scariest part, not knowing your money is coming from you, not like this boss who just has a bank load of money. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get paid no matter what I do, blah blah blah. So I think that's the scariest part about it.
So, what advice would you give to any budding entrepreneur, especially someone that's interested in going to like the field that you work in?
I think do your research. I have tons of people. I have so many people who come to me about starting a nonprofit that I like wrote like I don't know how this is gonna sound, but I like wrote a blog post and I'm like, just read this blog post. Whenever somebody comes to me now, I'm just like read it because I can't just repeat the same thing over and over again. But I think they should really do their research. Just because you have a really good idea and you want to like help people doesn't mean that you have the capability to. You have to know like business, you have to know marketing, you have to know program development, curriculum development, grant writing. It's just so much, and you don't necessarily have to do all those things yourself, but when you're a young entrepreneur, you kind of do until you can find other people to do it. So you either have to be super resourceful and have a team. Like a lot of businesses, a lot of like startups now, nobody really does it alone. You always have like a team. And I didn't have like, I had my friends, but I was like the sole like person. Like Dream Life was like my baby. I would suggest you find somebody else who you can partner with who is just as passionate, because that'll relieve a lot of the stress. And just find other organizations out there already doing what you're doing, and maybe like volunteer for them and get advice from them, and just do a lot of background research before you fully go and launch it. And maybe don't quit your job until you know that you're gonna get money from like the next venture, because that's a struggle. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Christina, for sharing all your wisdom and taking the time out to share your experiences with me. So it was great meeting you. And
you too.
How can you say you wrote on your blog post? Do you have the name of that, or?
Oh, it's just on my Tumblr. It's like C-Sturdy, SEE Sturdy, STURDI.tumblr.com. And then Dream Life has a Facebook page. I feel like it's facebook.com/DreamLifeInc.
Yeah, because your website is under.
Yeah, the website is under construction.
Okay. So thank you so much again. Yay!